This is the Good Government Show.
I would say I have this unique perspective because I was on council 20 years ago is really how much cities have changed. So I'm in the Bloomberg New Mayors program, and they gave us a clock with how many days you have left in your tenure. And it says, use your time wisely. 90% of the success of your term is going to be the team that you build, right? Either direct hires or the team that you're, maybe collaborating with, and then how you prioritize and use your time. Government has done so many things for me as some middle-class kid growing up, going to the library, the public pools and public schools. And, as mayor, I just appreciate all the things that we do in cities, right, that just make your life better, right? From picking up the trash, good roads, beautiful street trees, great parks, sports teams, that's the front line of government.
A new mayor and a new job. I talked to Janet Cowell when she was right in the middle of her first 100 days as mayor of Raleigh, North Carolina. Just a few weeks on the job, and it's a fun conversation about what it's like to take on a new position. And we talk about how she prepared herself for the job. Welcome to the Good Government Show. I'm Dave Martin. First, help us share the message of good government by liking us and sharing us where we are on Facebook, X, Instagram, and Blue Sky. Please share our show with your friends and review us where you're listening. And join our Good Government Show community. Check out our website for the link. Let's get everyone excited about good government. Well, I met Mayor Cowell at the Conference of Mayors shortly after she was elected and began serving. We talked about her expectations for the job and how her 25 years in public service prepared her to be the mayor. Early this year, she gave her first State of the City speech. By the way, wearing a red T-shirt under a jacket that said, "Watch more women's basketball." Clearly, she's a fan. Mayor Cowell talked about the city's growth. She said Raleigh grew from, quote, a sleepy government town to an economically and socially diverse city, end quote. She also said cities matter now more than ever. She said that in her speech. Between 2010 and 2023, the city's population grew by 20%, bringing the city's population up to about 500,000 residents. And I can tell you from having been there many times, the area around Raleigh is booming too. Housing is a top issue for the mayor, like it is for many city mayors. So far, the city has approved 13 new housing programs. She also talked about hiring more police officers, and she's working on improving public transportation. A lot on the plate for a new mayor, but after serving as state senator and a state treasurer, she says she's ready. My conversation with Raleigh Mayor Janet Cowell after this. Discover how leading government and education organizations are revolutionizing their operations through cloud-powered transformation. Join Amazon Web Services at AWS Imagine for Education, State, and Local Government in Chicago on July 29th and 30th for an immersive exploration of public sector cloud solutions. Experience hands-on technical demonstrations, participate in over 20 specialized sessions, and collaborate with over 500 industry leaders. Envision what's possible for your organization. Register now at aws.amazon.com/government-education/imagine, and we'll see you in Chicago. Welcome to the Good Government Show. I am speaking with Janet Cowell, who is the new mayor of Raleigh, North Carolina. Welcome to the Good Government Show.
Thank you.
Thank you. And how long have you been mayor?
6 weeks.
6 weeks. So it's now January, so you're 6 weeks into your term.
Right.
What have you learned in the first 6 weeks?
I was on council previously, and I've been working closely with the city. So really, I've been spending time building the relationships and trying to get the lay of the land, right? Who gets along? What's the inside baseball?
Yes.
Working with the county, just all the different levers, right? When you come into a new job, you're
Right.
trying to understand how do you exert influence and get things done.
What's the first thing you noticed in this term, 6 weeks in, that you're like, oh, I didn't know about that?
Seeing some of the dynamics of just between council and staff and learning more about some of the staff. I mean, these are people, some of the people I've worked with very closely and
Sure.
others I have not. Nothing shocking. It's more just, like I said, what are the dynamics? So I'm not sure there's some huge aha. But,
Okay. Is there anything that you said, oh, this is going to be easier than I thought?
Now, I would say I have this unique perspective because I was on council 20 years ago is really how much cities have changed. I was the only woman on council 20 years ago. And all the senior management was mostly white men. Now we have a very diverse council, African-American woman manager, African-American woman chief, African-American woman attorney. I mean, it's a much different place in 20 years.
Are there any folks that you used to work with 20 years ago that you're like, oh,
they're still there.
Now I'm the mayor. Ha.
Yeah. We helped create a stormwater program, and the guy now running the department is, there. So there's a few folks that, have the longevity of activists is incredible. Some of the community members that were active 20 years ago, still front and center.
That's got to be a little helpful.
Yeah, well, and having the amount of relationships, right, is critical. And Raleigh, as you may know, is a city manager form of government. So, and where the state has a lot of authority. And so I served in the General Assembly, I served as a state treasurer. So all of those relationships over, 25 years of public service help a lot.
And has that all sort of led you to be the mayor, all of that background?
Yeah, I mean, and I love tangible, operational. I mean, mayor is a pretty gritty job in many ways. I will say that it just kind of makes you just feel proud and really energized when you're coming out of like a solid waste department after the 5:30 a.m. start of shift, and you're watching the trucks deploy, and you're driving on the highway and a police car goes by you. And I mean, it's just a powerful big city and all the people that make it happen.
So I've been to Raleigh a few times, more than a few times, actually. Beautiful city, lots going on. What's the biggest challenge you face in Raleigh?
Growth, which is an opportunity, right? And a challenge.
Yes.
I told you we were just named number one large city by the Milken Institute for economics growth and equity and affordability. We have had so much attention, so many people moving in, so many people investing. It's the affordability, right, has changed dramatically in the last 4 to 5 years. That has made it really hard for renters. A lot of people are having to move out of Raleigh into the county or out of the county, particularly acute when you get into older African-American neighborhoods that, because of racial discrimination and segregation, were right near downtown, but, for years underinvested in. And now you've got those as prime targets of redevelopment. So, creates tensions in the community.
A friend of mine lives just outside of Raleigh, in an area they apparently it's the town he lives in stands for Calling All Relocated Yankees.
It's the collection area for relocated Yankees.
Excuse
right?
me?
Yes.
But I know that's an issue throughout the region. How are you dealing with housing? Because I know that's a problem and a challenge across the nation, but it's got to be especially acute in the Raleigh area. Yeah.
So good news is that the last two mayor and councils have deregulated housing. So we do have a lot of housing units, that are coming onto the market.
Okay.
We are still in our million population metropolitan county. We're 65,000 units short on housing. So
65,000.
Yeah. So it's not insignificant.
No, it's not.
And you're seeing some of the implications. We probably have between 1,000 and 2,000 unhoused. That has become more acute and visible, as the prices have gone up. So we've got just trying to streamline permits, the deregulation. Doing everything on multiple fronts to allow for housing to happen across all spectrum and diversification, and then also working on the unhoused issue. The county opened a new shelter on January 1st. It's cold today here in DC. It's cold in North Carolina. So,
as mayor, what can you really do about that? About the housing challenge?
Oh well, I mean. Of course, cities have more control over that than anybody, right? Which is a lot of its regulation, the permitting, and your business process of how quickly you can get it done. I think, we all know that, unfortunately, a lot of large cities and West Coast have made it very difficult to build housing. And that has resulted in some of the most acute unhoused populations, in the country.
Sure.
I think southern cities have generally had lower regulation and more just housing development. Austin, Houston, Raleigh's, a southern city, probably a little more in line with them. But, again, we've got challenges given the pace of growth and population.
Are there things is there direct action you can take?
Yeah, I mean, you can obviously approve.
You've only been out for 6 weeks.
The deregulation that I just mentioned, right? So that you can allow for accessory dwelling units, duplexes, townhomes, triplexes, condominiums, multifamily, right? All of that. What I'm hearing right now is that our permitting process could be streamlined. It's taking 18 months to get through things that, you would hope could be done in 12 months. I mean, time is incredibly valuable in an inflationary environment that we've just been through. So those sorts of processes.
What was your agenda running for office? What were the things that you wanted to
housing, public safety, making sure we continue to be a safe community for everybody, and then trying to retain the special aspects of Raleigh, the tree. We are the city of oaks. We have incredible, everybody who comes to Raleigh is like, gosh, it's such a green city.
Right.
We led the nation on preserving our creeks and establishing greenways along all those creeks years, 50 years ago. It's a beautiful city. So how do you maintain that environmental green and resilience? Of course, we had Hurricane Helene that had a major impact in the western part of North Carolina. Right. Raleigh had flash flooding, but nothing compared to the west. But still, we all know now, trying to be prepared for these increasingly unpredictable weather patterns.
that we have to start predicting. Raleigh is part of the tech triangle.
The research triangle.
The research triangle. How does that affect everything, really? I mean, jobs, people moving in, housing.
Well, we have been incredibly fortunate in the research triangle to have the universities that we do, and that shapes so much.
Yes.
NC State is in Raleigh. They're adding 4,000 more engineering graduate students. It'll be close to 40,000 students, very STEM focused. That fundamentally makes it a very diverse place. We have attracted all sorts of people from all over the globe.
But a lot of those people stay in the region, right?
And they do stay. We have a very young population, lots of young families. And we've invested in things like parks, our airport's fabulous.
Yes, it is. Easy in, easy out. I like your airport.
Yes, and we've got a lot of direct flights. We just added last year direct flights to Frankfurt, Germany. We've got Paris, London direct, a number of Latin American direct now. So it is pretty easy if you're a consultant or somebody who's right on the road a lot to get in and out of the triangle.
One of the things that impressed me when I go visit friends, again, just outside of Raleigh, is the extensive hiking and biking trails. Mm-hmm. How were you able to do that? I think one of them was like an old tobacco road.
Many
tobacco rail line.
The old rail tracks are huge opportunities, and we do have that. We also have a whole mountains to sea trail that go from the mountains of North Carolina to the Atlantic Ocean. We've got 200 miles of greenways in Raleigh that are all along mostly the old creek, estuary systems. So, and then we have Umstead Park right in the middle of the triangle, which was a 1930s, really kind of WPA era relocation of some really hard scrabble farmers and to create a really massive state park that is incredible for mountain biking, horse riding, hiking, right in the middle of the triangle.
Raleigh always struck me as a very, very livable city.
Yeah, it has got a lot of elements that you would want, right? We have a good school system. The affordability, while being challenged, it's still a very affordable city relative to the country. And like I said, we have the Hurricanes hockey team. Right. A lot of people don't think about the South and hockey.
No.
Of course, we've got college basketball, both women and men's.
Yes,
NC State was in the Final Four for both women and men's last year.
Okay.
And
do you go to games?
And of course watch that. I live right near the bell tower at NC State, so I when the helicopters start hovering, I know NC State's winning. And then we have Carolina Courage women's soccer, so we also have a women's professional soccer team, and of course incredible youth soccer in North Carolina. UNC women's soccer has been a powerhouse for a number of years in that space. So
a lot of baseball.
And, I get all sorts of people who want Major League Baseball. We've got Durham Bulls and some of the minor league teams.
Yes.
We have not had a major league team, so we'll see. But
so everything's great in Raleigh. There's no problems. You have nothing to worry about.
That's right. Yeah.
That's it. It's a 4-year term?
No, I am 2 years. So, and then it'll be 4 years. We're in the middle of moving to a staggered 4-year term, which I think is great. Okay. It takes 3 to 4 years to get any project done at a city level. I mean, these are big capital intensive projects.
We're here at the Conference of Mayors in Washington, D.C. We just met at the new mayor conference breakout session. What have you gotten from the other mayors so far? I mean, I know it's early in the session.
Yeah, this is my third event with other mayors, and the situation with the unhoused and how prevalent that is nationally. Yes. It doesn't matter, rural, urban, west or southeast. It's all everybody's dealing with that. It is interesting to just learn all the different aspects of finances. I learned that California caps the property tax, so you would think with all the incredibly expensive real estate in California, they would have money at a local level, and I found out that they have all sorts of constraints on that. So, it's always just interesting to see. So you have it a little easier than others, a little harder than others. Everybody's got pros and cons, right? So it's how do you best navigate the situation that you've got? And you mentioned you came into this from working in a public-private partnership. I know that, having talked with mayors in the past, that is a recipe for success for lots of different projects. What were you working on? So we and Raleigh have had an 1856 mental health hospital that was right near downtown. And because it was this 1856 as in built in 1856? Yeah. So it opened in 1856. So it was a very Victorian era, right, campus. Right. So it's almost like a mothballed 19th century, Central Park that you could sort of unwrap and get these rolling hills, creek, huge fields. It was, 300 acres is the area of the park. So I was the head of the conservancy and raised over $40 million from families, individuals, corporations to help open up and develop the park. And we have a huge playground opening, the Gibson Play Plaza, that will open next spring. Major public art program. We just most recently worked in collaboration with Duke Energy, the utility company, to get their transmission lines. And we made huge sunflowers out of these transmission poles. We plant sunflowers every year at the parks. It's kind of an iconic label, but worked with a local sculptor, Thomas Sayer. So just breaking through bureaucracy and doing new and innovative things like creative infrastructure. So these two sunflowers now are on, as you drive down the perimeter road, you just, they sort of glitter in the sun and the sunshine as you drive by. Nice. All right. And now that you're on the other side, are you looking to do more public-private partnerships? That is something I would definitely like to do. I find it, be it for housing, going back to our topic, number one goal, we have the Raleigh Housing Authority. The Raleigh Housing Authority has certain, project vouchers and things that the city doesn't have. So if we partner with them, we can do more units, deeper subsidy of housing in that partnership. They can do things the city can't do. I think there's a lot of examples of that. So finding out where is the city best positioned to execute something, and then how can they partner to do things faster, better. That sounds like good government. Yeah. All right. So in a minute, we're going to get to more of your philosophy of good government. The Good Government Show is sponsored by Our. That's OUR for Our Community. Get involved. We hear that all the time from government leaders. Our co-brands with your government's name and logo. Your staff and the people you serve are connected and part of your community. From any device, your members provide reliable data and meaningful feedback. Ask a question like, do we want more parkland or better homeless services? More engaged conversations come through the Our app. Visit Ourco, that's OURCO.com, and book a demonstration.
These are difficult times, and if you believe in justice, progress, and democracy, the news you read and listen to can be pretty depressing. And that's why there's a new podcast called Good News for Lefties and America. Every day it features positive news stories for progressive listeners. Because no matter how disturbing the headlines might be, there's always hope we can build on for a better tomorrow. Good news for lefties and America. Listen on this platform at goodnewsforlefties.com or wherever podcasts are heard.
All right, now we're going to find out what you really think about government, what your thoughts and philosophy is. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. You've been doing at this for a long time at different levels, state and city. Now you're the mayor. Define good government.
Good government is trying to get the best sense of what the citizenry's needs are, and then using your expertise and sort of understanding of law, of the constraints in economics to execute solutions to serving those needs.
Let's hope that holds up over the next 3 years, I guess.
Yeah.
So you've only been at this for 6 weeks as mayor, but how do you judge your success, on a weekly basis? You're a long way from the next election. So how do you know if you're doing a good job?
Yeah. So I'm in the Bloomberg New Mayors program, and they gave us a clock with how many days you have left in your tenure. And it says, use your time wisely. So no pressure there from Michael Bloomberg.
No.
I have felt that given my position in a city manager run, that building the relationships with your council, with the city manager, with the key staff, so that you're laying the groundwork to execute on the promises. And in fact, when we were at this Bloomberg program, they were saying that 90% of the success of your term is going to be the team that you build, right? Either direct hires or the team that you're maybe collaborating with, and then how you prioritize and use your time. And so for me, those are sort of the groundwork. And then I was just sitting there today summarizing, we've already gotten the homeless shelter open on January 1st. We just approved a Habitat for Humanity affordable housing project. We just approved a whitewater park. So certainly, you want to see these tangible things. We just got named, the Milken #1 performing city. So all of those things are maybe some tangible results built off the shoulders of others. And then, how am I laying the groundwork for my 2 years?
Okay. If people don't think they're getting good government, what should they do? What would you like them to do?
They can convey what the issues are, in email. There's so many ways to get in touch with government these days, right?
Yes.
There's social media, there's email, we have all sorts of colleges where people can learn about planning, where they can become, civic leaders and understand better, how government functions. So any and all of those, and we're also going to be launching a new tech app where people can, there's a pothole, here it is.
Okay. All right. So there's ways to get in touch with you.
Yep.
What should people do if they don't like the job you're doing? If they have a problem with you, if they think you're not being responsive, what should they do?
Well, all of the same things, right?
Okay.
You can always, critique.
Are you out of the shopping center? Are you out?
Oh yeah. I mean, I live in Raleigh. I mean, mayors are the most accessible, citizens out there. Most of us are. I mean, I was just having the gentleman I was just talking to said, you try to go to meet governors, you can't get to them. Mayors, you can get to them.
They can find you. They can find you anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, you're walking down the street, and I walk to City Hall, so I was, walking down the street. Somebody drives by. Hey, Mayor Janet.
Yeah.
So
you're Mayor Janet back in Raleigh. Okay. You've been in government before. Now you've been mayor for 6 weeks. What would you like people to know about government, about how it works as an insider? What would you like people to know that they might not know about government?
Well, don't come in with even if you're unhappy about something.
Yeah.
Don't come in with the assumption of going full bore. A lot of times what happens is people come in and they just they just flame the entire council, the staff. It's a matter of try to solve it in the most simple way. If you can't do that, you escalate to the next step. If you can't do that, you escalate to the next step. A lot of people never even do that. They just assume that you are, corrupt, evil, and they just come in guns blazing and don't even know exactly what you think about these issues. One thing I've learned in 20 years of public service is, a lot of these things are not because people were stupid, didn't care. It's that it is really hard to solve things like homelessness. It is really hard to do everything people want on the budget that you have. There's a lot of complexity and systems at work. And so being a partner, not, hey, I want you to solve this and you should have done this for me, but wow, here's an issue. I may or may not like what you're doing, and maybe there's a better way to do this. How do we partner, or at least, think about this as a shared burden and a shared solution?
Have you brought the temperature down and brought people into the fold?
I would say in general, and I think part of being elected is that people have always seen me as a fairly level-headed, pragmatic, collaborative person, and that you do de-escalate just by listening well.
Okay.
And then and there's a lot of knowledge. When I was on council 20 years ago, I really didn't. There's so much you don't know. Now I have a much better sense of what are you asking me to bite off? How big is that? How many people is that going to impact? How big a deal is this going to be? Or just smaller things where I know how I can figure out this thing, but because I know that person and I can get the answer quickly.
Gotcha.
And I watch people get frustrated with their city councilors, but again, I think we're all human. Yeah. There's a lot to know. These are not easy solutions. And a lot of these people are paid almost nothing, right?
Sure.
So they're doing this all kind of while dancing backward in high heels. I mean, they're not. Having a sense of bringing this with a sense of collaboration. We are all part of the same community. We are all trying to work towards the same good things.
So now that you're a name in the news, where do you get your news?
I still read a lot. I read mostly, my local newspaper, News and Observer.
Do you get home delivery?
No, it's all online.
Okay.
I also read the New York Times. I did subscribe to the Washington Post, but I canceled my subscription the end of last year due to some of those issues. Just walked by the office this morning on my way over here. And then I read the Apple news feed. So I get everything from The Guardian, The Independent, Wall Street Journal, okay, Fox News, whatever that's coming through kind of the news feed. And then just now that I'm mayor, of course, I get a lot more feed locally.
Do you read about yourself?
I don't tend to read articles. I mean, I'll glance to see and know that something was printed, but I really have found in my 20 years of office, I let somebody know if I need to know something, but I don't.
You must know a lot of the local reporters and they know you, so you have relationships.
Yeah.
I won't say if they're good or bad, but you do.
Yeah.
Okay. Who inspires you? Do you have a political hero?
Well, like I said, I have just really enjoyed the mayors I've met. They're just pragmatic. They said this is a physical job. It's a gritty job. I really have appreciated just how immersed folks are in the community. Mayors in general, I think, are pretty incredible.
Okay.
I will say, just as I'm in the Bloomberg program and I've been reading about him, it is pretty stunning to watch somebody bring the business acumen that he brought to that office as you sort of dive into the details of that and the just the discipline, the process, and just intelligence of somebody like Michael Bloomberg serving as mayor is certainly a very relatable to be able to grasp what
I live
he
in
brought.
New York City, so I was there covering most of his term. So,
yeah.
Yes. You said you've been in public service for 20 years. Is this something you always thought about? Did you want to be president when you were growing up? Were you president of your high school class?
Well, and as you know, a lot of girls my age, so I was born in the late 60s, right? You weren't raised to think that you could do any of these things.
Yes.
And so much of my tenure, I've been the first female elected treasurer in North Carolina, the only woman on city council, one of 6 women in the state Senate. There's been a lot of breaking of first in my generation. So no, I never thought that I would do these things. My father was a Methodist minister and my mother was a school teacher. So we were brought up with a sense of public service, community good, and a lot of perspectives on, just ethically how to live your life.
All right. So I've been to North Carolina. Whenever I go, I always make sure I get barbecue. I think City Barbecue is a place I go to.
Yeah.
Next time I come to Raleigh, where must I go? What are we having? What's the local dish that you love? Where are we doing it?
Well, right nearest, there's actually several places near my house. The Pit has been around in the Warehouse District for many years.
Been there?
And I'm a fan, so
Me too.
I'll call out the Pit.
Okay. I think I've been to the one in Durham. I think there's one there too, right?
Yeah, there's barbecue all over the place.
Yes, there is. Anything other than barbecue? Now, you don't have to, talk me out of it.
Well, no, I'll say we have a lot of incredible restaurants, food and beverage in the Research Triangle, which is one of the best things. Another local restaurant I go to a lot, Y Hill. One reason I like it is because it's the best view of the skyline for the city of Raleigh. So you can sit there and have your Brussels sprout with salmon, or whatever's on the menu, and kind of check out the sunset against the city skyline.
I think I've been there. It's on the top of a building somewhere.
Yeah.
So this is the Good Government Show. We always like to end it with good government. Tell me about a good government project that you've either worked on in the past that came to fruition you were proud of, or what's on your list? What's the thing that you're pushing right now? What are you trying to get done?
Well, I mean, many examples, but I will say, so I managed the state pension plan and inherited it at around, we were the 9th largest pension in the country. So grew it from 60 to 90 billion with a return of over 7.5% per year during my tenure. Took over the state health plan. It was being run out of the General Assembly in North Carolina, so no executive branch oversight.
Okay.
Took it into the Treasurer's office and reduced the unfunded liability, added things like mental health parity, some autism saving plans like the ABLE Act, and others. So felt good about that experience. And Dix Park, what an incredible project to be able to work on to add a major public arts and gathering space. We plant sunflowers every year to see the diversity of community. And Dreamville, we had J. Cole, a hip hop artist from Fayetteville, North Carolina, who founded Dreamville. So we have 55,000 people a day for 2 days for a massive hip hop festival in Raleigh in a huge old field that is just beautiful. So, again, government has done so many things for me as some middle-class kid growing up, going to the library and the public pools and public schools. And, as mayor, I just appreciate all the things that we do in cities, right, that just make your life better, right? From picking up the trash, good roads, beautiful street trees, great parks, sports teams. Like that's the front line of government.
I can't top that. Let's end it there with very good government. Janet Cowell, the new mayor of Raleigh, North Carolina. Thanks for coming on. Great to have you.
Thank you so much.
Look forward to seeing you in Raleigh.
Appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
County government affects more people than any other form of government. That's why we like talking to so many representatives of county government here on the Good Government Show. They are the voice of public service. The National Association of Counties, or NACo, supports all 3,069 counties across the USA. This year, their annual conference is in Philadelphia in July. Plan to attend the conference and join them in their efforts to bring good government to America's counties. Check out the details at NACo.org. That's NACo.org. After you get done with this episode, hear more good government stories with our friends at How to Really Run a City. Former mayors Kasim Reed of Atlanta and Michael Nutter of Philadelphia, and their co-host, journalist and author Larry Platt, talk with guests and other mayors about how to really get stuff done in cities around the nation. Check them out where you're listening now or through their nonprofit news site, thephiladelphiacitizen.org/podcasts. 20 years after being a city councilwoman, Janet Cowell returns to the city as a mayor, and Raleigh is a much different place. In fact, part of the theme of her State of the City speech was on the changes, and you should check out her State of the City speech. There's a link on our website show notes. It's kind of a fun speech, one of the better speeches by a mayor talking about their city. Check it out. You'll laugh, even if you're not from Raleigh. Housing, public safety, and improving public transportation are all on the top of her to-do list, right where they should be. Raleigh is the city of oaks. The trees line many of the streets, and the city has preserved its greenways. That helps make Raleigh a very livable city. And we talk about that and sports, NC State men's basketball and women's basketball, and of course,
the neighboring Durham Bulls baseball team. So just 1 year on the job. Good luck to Mayor Cowell and the city of Raleigh. That's our show. Please like us and share us with your friends and review us right here where you're listening. And check out our website, goodgovernmentshow.com, for extras. Help us keep telling stories of good government in action everywhere. Join us again for another episode right here. I'm Dave Martin, and this is The Good Government Show. The Good Government Show is a Valley Park production. Jim Ludlow, Dave Martin, that's me, and David Snyder are the executive producers. Our show is edited and produced by Jason Stershic. Please subscribe, then share us, and like us and review us. That's the best way to make sure we're able to keep telling these stories of our government working for all of us. Then listen to the next episode of The Good Government Show.